A new report revealing Biden's education department is disproportionately punishing faith-based universities, with nearly 70% of enforcement actions going to those schools. Just last year, the Department of Education slapped Grand Canyon University, the largest Christian university in the country, with a $37 million fine. Brian Mueller is president of GCU, Grand Canyon University, and he joins us now. Brian, it's so great to have you on. So before we talk about how unfair these fines have been, and we'll talk about it, the disproportionality of it, say, to Ivy League schools versus Christian schools, let's just first talk about why are they fining your university? What are the causes for their investigations into your school?
Well, we came to the university 16 years ago when it was nearly bankrupt and only 900 students on campus, and it's been an incredible success story. We're very, very grateful and blessed. I mean, we've grown to 120,000 students. Our campus is now ranked the 25th nicest campus in the country. We put $2 billion into it. But we saw a chance to go back as a nonprofit university 6 years ago, and we executed that transaction. And it was approved by the IRS and the Higher Learning Commission and everybody else that needed to approve it, but it was denied by the Department of Education. That was an unprecedented move, and I have no idea why they did that. Eventually, because we couldn't come to a resolution, we filed a complaint. And once we filed a complaint, they started with retaliation. They opened up 5 different investigations and finally centered on that we had misled somehow doctoral students. And I said, are there any complaints from students? And they said, no, we're not saying it's based upon complaints. It's based upon how we read your website. And I said, well, it was unbelievable what took place. And then they came out with this proposal of a $37 million fine. It's only been a recommendation. Obviously, we will fight that, fight it all the way to the Supreme Court. But it was a fishing expedition. They looked at thousands and thousands of documents, and they came up with, well, we see this place where you could have misunderstood, a student could have misunderstood time and cost to complete a degree. And it was absolutely a ridiculous thing. But
it's
it
harassment.
Resulted in a $37 million fine.
It's harassment is what it is. By the way, I need to read the statement from the Department of Education to Fox News Digital. They say, our top priority is protecting safety and academic opportunity for all students at institutions of higher education. The data in the app report itself pushes a false narrative by distorting information released publicly by the department. That is from the Department of Education, run by Michael Cardona. By the way, that's the same guy who got the Department of Justice to send letters to parents who were protesting the woke policies in their public schools and got them to be called domestic terrorists. 12 Christian schools have been targeted, no Ivy League schools. By the way, the fines against, for your school, which clearly a fishing expedition, the fines imposed on Penn State and Michigan State for sexual harassment with Larry Sarandusky and I'm sorry, Larry Nassar and Jerry Sandusky, those fines, not even as large as the fines levied against your university and Liberty University. It's just unbelievable. Last word, Brian, on how you think things will change in terms of this weaponization of the federal government against Christian schools.
Yeah, you know, the Ninth Circuit ruled that the department was out of line. It was a 3-0 unanimous decision a couple months ago that they had no authority to do what they did. And so it's been remanded back to the department. We don't know what the next move is, but as you said, they fined us $37 million. They fined Liberty $17 million. We're the 2 largest Christian universities in the country. And so they're not even being subtle about what they're doing. The next move, we'll see what their next move is, but we're going to have a new administration. We're going to have a new Secretary of Education. And I think what they're going to do is look at these 2 institutions and say the impact that they're having on the culture because they're teaching from a Christian worldview perspective is immense. And they're both growing, and the demand for what they're doing is tremendous. And that is what they're pushing back against. And so with all of what's happened in the last 6 years, it's still a very, very bright future for Grand Canyon University. The growth, we can't stop it. It just keeps coming, and that's the positive thing. That's the
they wouldn't be targeting you, Brian, if you weren't making impact. When the dogs bark, It means you're galloping. Thank you so much for joining us and for bringing this to our viewers' attention. I'm sure they're just as outraged as I am. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having us. We appreciate it.
You got it.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.